Everybody's chosen for a job based on certain skills that they have and the needs of the Kansas City Public Schools. When my position came available, my skill sets met what they needed most at the time. I am definitely learning more about managing IT in education, but my heart goes out to all the teachers and what they do. It is a very difficult job. And I would say being a principal is probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever seen in my life, with what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the Kansas City Public Schools. We're a 157-year-old school district. We have a budget just around $400 million, depending on personal property tax and the population in our area. My budget generally runs somewhere around 10 million plus or minus, depending on ebbs and flows of the needs of the district at the time. I'm very excited to say that Dr. Jennifer Collier is our superintendent. She's the first female superintendent in the 157-year-old history of our school district. She was a teacher, principal, et cetera, in our school district for 20 plus years, so there's nothing she doesn't know about kids, education, et cetera. She had multiple different jobs. She's highly qualified, and she's doing an outstanding job in her first year. We all are very dedicated to help her be successful. We are fully accredited, and we're a one-to-one school district. So for those who don't know, all of our kids get free lunch, and et cetera. This is our student demographics. We're 87% non-white, right? Some of our schools have 40, 50 different languages that are spoken there. So it is a very, very diverse school district. So when I came to the district, I inherited an IT department that was not trusted. So my previous predecessors, for whatever reason, did not have a culture or foster a culture that helped IT be an enabler. So my number one job was to create a culture within IT where we helped people educate the students instead of becoming barriers with devices and technology. Technology needs to just work. So you can choose a lot of different things, but the worst example for an IT person is to go talk to somebody that's not technical and they talk disrespectful or demeaning or down to them. Mansplaining is a word, right? That we do not tolerate that. You're going to talk to all different types of people that have lots of different technical experience and knowledge. We focus on white glove service and helping everybody solve their technology problems when they come up, because a lot do. So when we hire people and when we set goals for people in the district that are in IT, our pillars are humility, world-class service, IT curiosity, and team player. So an arrogant person, they really don't have a place in my organization. They think they're the smartest person in the room. Their customer service usually isn't very strong. They're usually in it for themselves. They're not a good team player. And they already think they know everything, so they're not real curious to learn more. So that kind of pins across there. So some people left because they didn't like that. But when we hire now for my organization, those four things are baked into all of our questions that we ask our candidates. And if you look below, our 5 enemies of a culture like that: poor communication, gossip, drama, unresolved disagreements, lack of shared purpose, and tolerated incompetence. All of those things, if you let them foster, you will not have a healthy culture. And what you try and do with technology for the district will be ineffective. And that is a truism, just like the sun coming up tomorrow. I've learned that over the years and years and years of me being in IT, making some of those mistakes and seeing all of those. This is the principle that we, for the whole operating model for IT. When I joined, there were lots of projects that were running long, never were implemented fully. Staffs weren't trained, so what they implemented wasn't used. Money was wasted. It was very ineffective. Our infrastructure was failing. They kept trying to put technology on top of a failed infrastructure, and you can't do that. You have to have a good foundation first. You have to have a strong governance process in place, and then you can have success with your business operations, which I categorize as learning, culture, growth, equity access, HR function, accreditation, and financial health. And then if you focus only on governance and business operations, your infrastructure will fail. You'll have system performance issues. You'll have security vulnerabilities. You'll have poor end user experience. You will have no business continuity whatsoever. If you focus only on infrastructure, you'll have project implementation problems. You'll have technology sprawl. I know we talked about that a little bit ago. Your costs will go through the roof, and your productivity will not be very effective. So I've kind of split up my roadmap into infrastructure, network, technology, and device. From a classroom perspective, one of the first things we did, we implemented Strategic's Badge Alert. It's this badge right here. We live in a urban district, so safety is at the foremost of everybody. Kids don't learn if they don't feel safe. I push it 3 times. First responders in the building will come to me. If I press it 8 or more times, the school gets locked down, and you can assume that there's some kind of active shooter or something going on. This was implemented district-wide. The other thing was we had, I don't know, TV digital learning is very critical, and the TVs that we had were out of support. You could not manage them remotely. We bought 1,100 interactive displays with the last part of our ESSER money. And so we deployed 1,100 Samsung interactive TVs. They're probably from here to that window wide. They're touchscreen. You log into them with a QR code. It interacts with our Office 365 tenant, so you can get to your OneDrive from there. You can be at home working, save documents in a file, go to the TV, access it. You can show multiple students' desktops on there. You can draw on it. You can do math problems. You can push content from the TV to their devices, and it's been very, very popular. It's been a very popular deployment. We just finished that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We started. It's taken us about 6 or 7 months to get to all, 40-something schools. 1,100 TVs take up a lot of space, and then you got to do something with the old TV, right? And then what we're doing, we're replacing a new phone system. We're starting an RFP in the next couple of weeks. The phone system that we have now is very old. It's out of support, and phone systems now. We can go into the cloud. We want to really have a big push on digital signage in our schools, right? We want colorful, things. Hey, it's pizzas on Wednesday. We play the Pirates on Thursday. Please come to Paseo. Whatever the content the administrators in the building want to push to the students. We're implementing 2 large 130-inch high-definition walls. One of them in our fine arts school. It's our Paseo Academy. And then one of them in our admissions office. So phone systems now, you can push digital signage with them. You can tie in the bell system. You can tie in the intercoms. I know a lot of people are wanting to go to like Teams and WebEx, Cisco, Zoom phones. Just you go over here, you look somebody up, you click the little icon, it rings, and they pop up on your computer and you talk. We're not quite there yet. We do have some regulations and laws around making sure that we have a phone in every building, every room for 911, et cetera. I'm not exactly sure what they all are, but I'm going to be pretty knowledgeable on that when we get our RFP finished. We are transitioning to an all Apple school district. Right now we have about 45,000 computers, and we're probably going to get it down to about 20,000 in the next few years. And we're moving from Windows based to all Apple. We have a very strong relationship with Verizon Innovation Learning. These are grants where we get reduced pricing for our hardware. We get building techs and digital learning coaches come into our schools and help teach the kids how to learn spatial learning with their iPads versus the traditional, big cheap tablet and pen and paper. We have 15 or so schools now. We are applying for more. So that has been a very challenging proposition to manage two operating systems. The mobile device management tools that are out there now, Intune for Microsoft, and we are using Mosel for Apple. So we push content out to the machines remotely. We've learned quite a bit on that. We've made a few mistakes with everybody in the school district not having any of their applications on all their iPads and not realizing the change we made did that and had to move it back. So, but we're very excited to be partners with Verizon and Apple and learn different ways of teaching kids, right? We are in the process of doing town halls with the students, and the number one complaint we're hearing is they miss their keypad, right? Some of the keypads we get with the iPads they don't like. When they have to write papers, they want their old Chromebooks, so we put Chromebook carts in the room. If they absolutely have to have that, well, why they can do that. So when I started, we had 2 data centers. One of them was in our Board of Education building. Everybody know what a data center is? Yes. Yeah, okay. So I had 2 data centers, one in our Board of Education building and one of them in our Career Technical Education building. They're about a mile or so apart. They're on the same fiber loop. They're on the same electrical grid. So we had no business continuity whatsoever. We moved both of our data centers underground. One of them is at Cavern location, which is in Lenexa, and the other one is at the Light Edge data center, which is below Worlds of Fun. They are connected with the network, and we've done a disaster recovery test now, so we have immutable backups in the cloud and on-prem. We did have a breach in 2018 for the school district, so we have gone above and beyond to do the best we can with having our data protected.
Is there a reason you didn't go Amazon or Microsoft backup or fully cloud storage?
Size, we're not that big yet. So we will probably consider going to the cloud. I do not have the skill set in my organization to manage cloud workload, and the resources to hire those right now are very expensive, and I didn't have the budget for it. So we don't have a giant infrastructure. We've got, I think, 400 or 500 VMs. We do have a lot of data that we have to store. But I feel very confident we're pretty protected there now.
How many years do you have to store? Is it true? Is it still like 500 for student records?
500 years?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot. I mean, we don't delete anything, right? So we keep it. I've learned that the business of trying to figure out what to keep and what to delete can be very complicated. And there's such a wide range. Keep this for 1 year, keep this for 100, keep this for 10, keep that for 5. I've taken the approach as a technology officer here is to make sure it's ultra safe and protected and backed up 2 and 3 different ways.
Including all video surveillance?
No, we don't. Video surveillance we don't keep. I think we keep video surveillance for a month or 2. We are looking at AI technology in our cameras on our schools to detect weapons in the parking lots. We are looking at that right now, and we're also looking at different ways to detect weapons when students walk in. right now we have X-ray machines, and everybody's backpack goes in an X-ray machine. It's pretty old school. Kids stand out in the rain, right? And we are looking at, the towers that people can walk through, and then there's a screen and it says, "Hey, look at the right front pocket."
Airport stuff.
Yeah. So we're probably going to start with, big sporting events, because you can't have, 2,000 people come to a football game and stand and while you have them empty their pockets and put things in an X-ray machine. It's not very practical. One of the problems, so we've got our infrastructure in place. We had to start looking at our network. All of our buildings were wired with 1 gig of fiber, and we have a 10 gig network. So it doesn't do you any good to have a 10 gig network if you only have 1 gig in the school. So we had to recable all of our schools. We finished that in July. We did an RFP through E-rate federal money, and we bought a new network, and we have around 40 buildings. We have about 15 left. So we'll have that finished by first part of November. Then we'll have new data centers with full backup, and then we'll have a brand new network that's 10 times larger, more capacity, and so then we can start putting technology on top of that, and we don't have to worry about it caving in on itself. We're also looking at some vendor diversity. Right now we have MoreNet, who's our internet service provider. If they go down, we have no backup. So we're looking at 2 or 3 other backup internet providers. So if they were to go down, we can switch over to somebody else. I know.
Also satellite.
We haven't looked at satellite yet, but.
Well, wouldn't you need to if you're a disaster recovery zone, if there's a natural disaster?
I got 2 data centers, 150 feet underground.
No, but I mean, aren't your schools community disaster relief for tornadoes and stuff like that? So you'd need some.
You mean, well, my data center is fine, but if a school gets hit by a tornado, I don't have any other way of getting them internet.
Some of the schools are places that they're like relief centers. So if a tornado's coming, people go to the school.
Like a FEMA shelter?
No, we
You guys
don't.
have shelter? Okay.
I don't think they do.
No.
Okay.
Nope, I don't. So this is Light Edge and Cavern. These are our 2 data centers. So this is, I put it in here just to show this is our infrastructure, but that's our current business continuity solution for making sure that we have okay, device management. When I started, we have what we call KCVA, which is our Kansas City Virtual Academy. We had about 500 students in it, and they were complaining that they couldn't access the curriculum. They kept getting kicked off teams. So pulled everybody together. We went and looked at it, and I'll tell you a quick story. It just broke my heart. There was a young student, for whatever reason, couldn't get to school. Lots of challenges in his life, and he kept getting kicked out of the room, and he started crying. And he wasn't crying because he couldn't. He was crying because he was missing out on learning, right? And this is not something this young man was taught. This was he had a strong innate desire to learn, and he wasn't, and we were trying to teach him, and technology was keeping him from learning. Period, end of discussion. It wasn't the teacher, it was just straight up technology. Well, we had hotspots that went out to all the students, and it's not uncommon for friends, parents, neighbors, whatever, to get on their hotspot and burn up their data plan. So that's what happened here, and he was trying to access with his hotspot, and there was no bandwidth. So in addition to that, his machine that he had wasn't strong enough. I think it had 4 gig of RAM or whatever. It could barely run Teams. So we implemented a LTE all for all of our devices. So all of our devices now are cellular enabled, and they all have a unlimited data plan on them. So that will never happen again as long as I'm there. Kids can, as long as they can get a cell signal, they can get online and they can learn. So all of our devices that we order now have more RAM in them, they're more processing power, easier for the kids to use, and all of them are LTE enabled. So we were a big Chromebook user. We're on a drawdown of that. People get new devices now. They get an iPad or a MacBook. And then now we are learning how to optimize, those images on those devices so that they run better. Legal and finance, they're not going to give up their Excel spreadsheets, so they want Windows-based devices. So we'll always have some Windows devices for them, but our students are going to use Apple devices. Okay, so over the years, all of our software, none of it's written in-house. We have no application development whatsoever, very little. All of our software is software as a service, so it's run somewhere else, sits in the cloud. Bought. Nothing was integrated, no API integration. So you have people entering data, entering the same data, entering the same data, entering the same data. So not only is that highly inefficient and costly, you also, when humans are humans, they're going to type, they're going to misspell, they're going to put a period, they're going to put a comma, they're going to do whatever. So then you start getting, duplicate records that are the same person that are spelled slightly different, which generates problems. There's no automation and no integration for our back office systems whatsoever. So we just recently started to automate onboarding and offboarding. So when somebody joins the district, you put them in once, and then it feeds through the system and onboards them, so you don't have to enter the data a bunch of different times. When somebody quits, HR goes in the system, they terminate them, and then it removes their access and wipes them off. That was way more complicated than we thought it was going to be because it was never documented. Here's all the systems that we use and touch when we do that. No one person knew it all. So that was a very eye-opening experience, and we're starting to do that. Now we talked in our group, we bought software to see who's accessing what applications and when, so that we can look at our application portfolio and make sure that we have the right software, we don't have any redundancy, and that we're being the most financially responsible we can when we buy software. So what's coming up? We're on a July 1 fiscal year, and we submit my budget late February. Everybody else's budget gets submitted. Everybody looks at it, and then we all come to a decision on, where's the money going to go? What are we going to spend our money on for the district? That is voted on by the board in May. And then come July 1st, then your funds are available and you can implement your roadmap. So these are the things that we are looking at right now. We have to do, we're probably going to have to replace some hardware in our data centers in the next year or so. At that point in time, we'll start looking at cloud a little bit more seriously. We've even looked at infrastructure as a service. I don't know if we'll do that or not, but we're looking at it. We're replacing our phones, intercom, bell system, digital signage. We're going to do that next spring. Then we have to do Windows 11, goes out of support next October. We're probably looking at a storage upgrade. We would like to go to one mobile device management tool, which would probably be Mosel. We are also looking at RFID and AI. One of our biggest problems is taking attendance and getting an accurate attendance. I don't know how many students, how many kids are in the Belton School District? Okay, so
Why don't you look at fingerprint?
there's a lot of people that don't want us tracking biometrics with their students.
But it's just like the airport, like right now.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So they don't. So the way this works It doesn't. If you push the button and you're at home, it doesn't work. You have to be within 1,000 feet of a beacon, which starts in the parking lot of our school. Okay. We even had to overcome some hurdles with, where I am, right? I'm like, well, you're on our school district, so it's okay for us to know where we are. We're not tracking whether you're at the shopping mall or,
Yeah.
at the gym on your own time. We don't track that. But what we just started a new agreement with Zoom Bus Company. Transportation was a huge issue for us last year. We couldn't get bus drivers. We couldn't get kids to school. We're very happy with this new agreement that we have with them. All our buses are running on time. They're 100% staffed. They have an RFID badge when they get on the bus. They scan it. They know that they're on the bus. They scan it. They know when they're off the bus. There's an application where the parents know where their kids are at all times. So that has been very successful. I would like to take that a step further. I would like for a student, when they walk into the room, have a badge that they swipe, and it shows that they were in the room. They swipe it when you leave, it shows they left. That will help us get attendance. Attendance and accreditation are tied together, right, very strongly. And right now, it is all manual.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to talk to you about the fingerprint stuff, because some of the biggest issues in the country are doing it because of the little kids, like you have, Amy. Like,
So-
there's no way they're gonna remember their badge every day. No way.
I actually used badges in my previous district with preschoolers, and it worked well. I had fingerprint technology for staff safety, and it did not work well because I had a very diverse staff and not all skin tones read well. So
Really?
it was a disaster.
I've never heard that before.
Fingerprinting and facial recognition. Very
Sketchy.
It's built by white people, and so it is.
So I
Didn't know that.
I was in KCKPS, urban, right across from where you are, and I had a really diverse staff and fingerprinting groups. I learned a lot.
Wow,
And
I
it
never
was-
knew that.
It was really alienating for my staff because they were like, so you don't value my life because I can't activate the system by putting my thumb on the button.
Oh, yeah.
And
that
I was
would be
like,
the end of that.
I didn't get this system, I'm just trying to program it in. But I did learn a lot.
So I think in the year and a half, 2 years that I've been there, we have started to see that people are starting to trust IT. Not all of them, but they're starting to see that we're here to help them be, and we're here to be enablers for them, and we're starting to see a change. The educators, we've been accredited for 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. We have seen our scores finally start to get better for our students, right? So the cabinet has stayed together for almost 2 years now instead of constant turnover. So we're starting to develop some stability for the district and the students. It's kind of getting I'm a big football analogy, right? If you're a quarterback and every year you get a new coach and they bring in a new system, you're not going to be near the quarterback you are with somebody that stayed with the same person for 4 years. That's why one of the reasons why Patrick Mahomes is so good. He's had the same coach his entire career at KC, right? So the students are going to be feeling the same thing. They know what to expect. They know what they're going to get when they come into school. They know what the educators are teaching. We got a great leader with Dr. Collier. We have a great school board right now. They work with us. There's a good harmony in the district right now. One of the biggest things, we haven't had a bond in 57 years. So we are trying to get on the April ballot for a bond. We've got $600 million in deferred maintenance, and we can never catch up to keep up, right? So we're taking money out of our operating expense to, just this year was the first year we've had all of our buildings have air conditioning. Last year our buses didn't have air conditioning. So, Dr. Collier had to do early school a couple times, and that's just not acceptable. We're trying to teach these kids, right? So we've got some schools that are 110 years old. I think our average school is 60 years old. So we're, our enrollment has gone up about 2,500 in the last year and a half, and they're predicting another 600 this year. So we are growing, and it's very exciting. That
This is IAM. That last box.
identity and access management
Oh,
and
okay.
privileged access management,
Okay.
right? So which basically says I need to get on this server and do something. You open a ticket, it gives you access for 24 hours, and then it gets taken away.
Role-based.
Roles-based access, yes, ma'am. Yep. So I've pretty much talked to some of our challenges. Right now, we've had 4 or 5 systems. Our last 2 student information systems, all of the data wasn't taken out and put into the new system for various reasons. And they still need that information to get transcripts for students, medical records, immunization, whatever. It's on old infrastructure that is barely alive. So we're right now in the process of taking that and moving it and letting other people that need it have access to it. I don't know. I think just about everything on there I've already talked about. Real quick on this, we started an IT Technology Pathways program. I'm in the Inspire CIO Leadership Network in Kansas City, and our VOTEC school didn't have anything for IT. So we're taking the kids, they do 2 years in the schools, they do desktop support. So they help onboard and offboard machines, and then they're going to enter this program, and we've got Cloud Practitioner, Oracle Database Fundamentals, Cisco Networking, CompTIA, Autovisual, Microsoft, Help Desk Institute. They're going to have these certs when they come out, and then I reach out to the CIOs. I give them the student's name. I'll have a job fair for them, and then the CIOs they can hire diverse candidates right out of school that have 4 years desktop support and multiple certs. Right, that'll give these kids, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 jobs right out of school, versus fast food, beautician. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but these kids don't ever have the opportunity to sit down with a CIO and get hired doing IT work. Right, so we're hiring our teacher right now. We're approved by DESE last quarter, and we're really super excited about this.
Oh, so this is just this year that you're
Yes, ma'am.
implementing this?
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a program since 2020, so coming back from after the pandemic when we shut down. And that was our first year with, we have IT insurance. So from our Ford and GL academies at our high school, come over and actually work at our tech department and do one-to-one device repairs, staff device repairs. And I oversee that, coordinating with the tech department in the high school. So we've seen over 40 students go through that, but getting their A+ certification, ITF+ certification, Net+ certifications. So that's
Yeah, and then I'm going to start hiring students.
yes. Mm-hmm. We have 2 currently in our tech department staff that we've hired from the program.
Yeah, I mean, they boil to the surface. They're like, I love this, and this is my district. I want to work here. I'm like, right, no problem. We got you.
Something that I learned yesterday that I think is really interesting is in Ohio, they have a alternate graduate pathway where you can get points for these types of things. So you get points for all your certifications versus taking day-to-day classes, but it's an alternate path and all those types of things. Like if they get their Microsoft, they get points. They can earn points to their graduation as well, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, the I don't have a Cisco network, but the Cisco student certification, when they get that, they go in a database with Cisco, and people that want to hire Cisco engineers go in that, and it's a great streamlined opportunity for kids to be network engineers if they want. So thank you for having me.